If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into The Robert and Crew Show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown, or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew Show, where the future meets the fantastic.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. I'm Robert.
Oh yeah, I'm Crew.
Yeah, Crew, how are you?
Tired, but good.
Tired.
I had a long work day.
How dare you? How dare you be tired today? I'm just kidding. You have a long work day?
And I have to go back in tomorrow.
Hey, Julie.
That had me going on my day off.
Of course they did. Because why wouldn't they?
They're assholes.
Yeah, that's like the name of the game, right? So tonight, Crew, we're talking about Project Beam, alien abduction, aliens caught on camera. Are you ready for tonight's episode?
I thought we were gonna just talk about aliens, not Project Bluebeam, but all right, let's go.
Oh, no. We're talking about Project Bluebeam. We're talking about aliens. We're talking about UFOs, UAPs, extraterrestrials. We're talking about all of it.
Mm.
What do you know about extraterrestrials, Crew? Where do you think they come from? Do you think they come from space?
No, they come from the other lands, past the ice wall.
Land past the ice wall, so they're extraterrestrials.
Yeah,
Exoterra, extra land. Yeah. So you think they come from beyond the ice wall, from outside of where Antarctica is,
yes.
correct?
Yeah.
And what kind of ETs do you think are out there? Do you think it's the Greys like we've been told, or are there multiple races?
There's multiple.
And how many races do you think there are?
There's over 176 different lands out there.
Are you thinking that there's extraterrestrials on each and every one of those lands?
There could be, yeah. I mean, Mars might not have any because of the fact that, it's a wasteland, but, that's just Mars. But
So, what do you think about the rovers on Mars? Do you think that was faked?
that's fake. That's all staged. It's filmed in the desert somewhere on Earth.
Like New Mexico or something? Like
I'll have to go. I think I sent you the video before.
You probably have. I mean, look, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. If you have a desert and you've got a rover and you can drive it around, you can obviously CGI the desert to look like Mars. It would not be hard at all. Especially since humans have never been to Mars, so we're just going to accept whatever they show us as what Mars looks like, right?
Right.
Okay, you've never actually been there. I've never actually been there, so we don't know what Mars looks like. You just off of what NASA is. And quite honestly, that's a crock of crap. if I have to go off of what NASA says, then I want my fucking money back because the landing is fake as hell. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. The moon landing was faked. I feel like even if we did go to the moon, who was the first person on the moon? Because somebody took a picture of Neil Armstrong as Neil Armstrong was coming off of the moon lander. How is that possible? How is that possible unless there was somebody already on the moon?
Right.
Please, somebody explain that to me. I don't get it. I don't understand it, and no form of logic makes any sense. They could not have already had a camera planted up there. And issue from NASA about a camera pointed on the opposite side of the spacecraft itself is a crock of crap. It would have been ripped off in space flight when they went up into the air.
Or
The
it would have
camera ain't
been
gonna stay.
It would have been melted as
That's what I'm.
well.
That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be able to stay up on the moon land or the moon shuttle or the or whatever the hell they took to get to the moon. The Apollo space missions. I always forget what it was. It's a lunar lander, but I believe they took a space shuttle, right?
Right.
Some kind of rocket, some kind of space shuttle. Then have you heard the whole thing about how I don't remember, is it Space Shuttle Columbia or Challenger, the one that the astronauts blew up in and they all died supposedly, and then years later they found they found people that looked exactly like the astronauts in different like colleges teaching classes and stuff, and people that had different jobs in the government. And I believe one of them even worked for like NASA still, and they looked at these guys, and in some other way or some form, they all looked exactly like these people that supposedly died. And it's really weird. Like the likeliness of all of those people having a doppelganger and the likeliness of
Right.
these people figuring it out. Like I'm pretty sure do you know who Bart Sabra?
No.
He is a guy. So he's a guy that released a documentary called "A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon." He's done a lot of interviews about the moon landing, and he basically says that ever since he was a kid, and his dad worked for, like maybe his dad worked for NASA, I think, and his dad like would bring home crazy things, and he brought home a colorized picture of the moon and the astronaut Neil Armstrong standing on the moon, and Bart like put it on his wall. He wanted to be an astronaut. That's like what he was striving to be when he grew up, because he thought that stuff was really cool or whatever. And then like later on in life, he started like really looking at all of that and realizing that there were many things that didn't add up. And he started making his own like journalistic investigations into the moon landing, and he would
Right.
basically go up and try to interview the astronauts. And most famously was his name not Neil Armstrong, but Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin assaulted Bart. I think he assaulted Bart Sabrell, or threatened to assault Bart Sabrell, over Bart telling him to swear on a Bible that he went to the moon, and he wouldn't do it.
Hmm.
So it's really weird. It's really really weird stuff. Like if you went to the moon and you had no problem like, saying you did, you shouldn't have a problem swearing on the Bible. If you're a Christian that believes in the Bible and honors Jesus, you shouldn't you issue swearing on the Bible. So why wouldn't Buzz Aldrin swear on the Bible, or any of these other astronauts swear on the Bible that they went to the moon?
Right.
And Neil Armstrong is like famously like he's got a famous speech that is very cryptic. He's speaking to college students, I think, or maybe like even high school students or something, and he leads on them to believe that we have not let yet actually made it into space, and that our generations could be. Like, that's not what he said, but that's literally what the gist of the message was. I would have to find the speech, which I'm sure I can, but it's very interesting. Like, it seems like all of these astronauts that get asked have some kind of crazy cryptic answer, and they can never tell the actual truth about what happened, what they saw, where the information is, or they have that cryptic answer to the question that makes absolutely no sense. So,
Right.
go to the freaking moon or not? Like, why can't we just have a concrete answer? And then, did you know that the petrified, sorry, the moon rock that was gifted to another country? I don't remember the country that we gifted it to, but gifted rock to a country, okay? And they had the moon rock tested like later on, like years later. And guess what that moon rock actually was?
What? What?
It was petrified wood. It wasn't from the
Well, of
moon.
course. Of course.
Christians actually are supposed to swear on the Bible, or aren't supposed to. I mean, that's cool and all, but you shouldn't have an issue with it if you really did something. You shouldn't have to swear on the Bible to prove a point, but the problem is that none of them would have swore on the Bible, of their journeys and their adventures. Sorry, I was answering a question from JD. She said Christians actually are supposed to swear on the Bible, and then she corrected herself and said aren't. They're supposed to swear on the Bible. So,
Right.
and yeah, no, it makes sense, but at the same time, I'm also saying it shouldn't be an issue if you actually did something. If you're claiming you did something and you know you did, and God knows you did, there shouldn't be a problem with it. But I understand the blasphemous take on swearing on the Bible. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So with a petrified moon rock, that didn't come from the moon. It
No, it
did
was
not.
just a piece of wood.
Yeah, just a piece of freaking wood that they like painted or spray painted gray. Like, how pathetic. And then if you look at the astronauts' moon suits, tell me how that protects you in space. How does that suit actually protect you in space? And if it does protect you in space, um, why would we do a suit that weighed as much as those did? And was it because our technology was just terrible? Or was it because the oxygen would explode the suit? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know.
Petrified wood, Julie. Petrified wood, Julie, is wood that has around a long time, and it basically fossilizes, and they call it petrified. So yeah, it's basically a piece of wood that's really crappy that could probably fall apart pretty easy, but it also looks pretty cool. I like petrified wood. If I ever find it, I keep it. So what do you know? What's your favorite alien race to research?
There's a ton. Um,
If you had to
if I had
pick,
to,
what would be your
if I had to
favorite?
pick the custodians,
The custodians?
yeah,
You like the guys that clean up the universe?
yeah, they're
Guys
basically
like
the Anunnaki.
yes.
Custodians are
And for
basically
the
a
viewers
type of Anunnaki. So
that don't know, explain what the Anunnaki is. We've talked about them before, but for the viewers that are watching this for the first time, explain what the Anunnaki is.
Anunnaki are basically, in a sense, our creators.
They're supposedly gods that were 8 to 9 feet tall that roamed around planet Earth And well, actually, they brought us here from their planet Nibiru. They brought.
Actually, they're a lot taller.
Are they're a lot taller than 9 feet?
Yeah. See, okay. So in biblical sense, they were about 20 to 30 feet tall. Because when I was watching a video on TikTok, they were doing an Anunnaki comparison to Adam and Eve.
Right.
Adam and Eve was about 10 to 15 feet. Now, when you put an Anunnaki next to them, Anunnaki's taller.
Wait, why would Adam and Eve been 10 feet tall?
10 to 15 feet tall. Because, okay, so you know how our air is a lot different than it would be back way, way, way back in the old
Okay,
days?
so you're saying because of oxygen that they would have
Yes.
been bigger?
Yes.
That, okay, I can see how one would think that. So that makes sense. I mean, sloths were bigger, dinosaurs. I mean, for God's sakes, dinosaurs were huge. They were absolutely gigantic, and then sloths were huge, and then we had other animals and other creatures that were absolutely gigantic back then.
And they were saying Noah was about like 12 feet tall.
Noah was 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
I not know that. I've never heard that before.
Like, hold on. I will go ahead and pull it up real quick and tell you their heights real quick.
So I actually heard something today, which is kind of funny. Did you know that the Mormons believe that Cain is Bigfoot? I don't know if all Mormons believe that, but a sect of Mormonism believes that Cain from the Bible is the Bigfoot.
If he is, that's weird. Okay.
It would make more sense if Esau was Bigfoot. And the reason I say Esau would be Bigfoot is because in the Bible, Esau is described as a boy and a man, and in both times that he's described, he has way more hair than any other man or boy. And he has hair that grows all over him. It's like a coat. He is like furry, okay? I I don't remember who Esau's brother was. Esau had a brother, and, Esau was a really good hunter. He would hunt in the forests, and basically his brother trapped him outside one time and stalked Esau for quite a while, and then told Esau, "If you give me your birthright, I will allow you to eat." And then Esau was able to eat or whatever, and Esau traded his birthright. Well, then years down the road, father was going to pass away, and Esau asked, or the father asked Esau to go out and get him some venison. And then when he brought it back to make him a meal, and then his father would give him his blessing. Well, Esau left to go get some venison, and the mother grabbed the other brother and told him, "Hey, your brother Esau went out to go get your father his last meal. I have a goat over here. You could kill this goat and make really good goat meat, and I'll take the blame if your father figures it out. But go in there and give him this, make some food for him, and he'll give you his blessing." And sure enough, he goes in there and he gets his father's blessing, and then Esau returns and realizes that his brother stole his blessing and basically stole his birthright, and Esau becomes who he is or whatever. But the way he's described in the Bible, he really does sound like a giant hairy creature. He's not described as like, they call him a man, they call him boy at times, but he's covered in fur.
Okay. So There's three theories on Adam's height. All right. So some think he was about average height, around 5'6" to 5'9", similar to the average height of people in the Middle East during that time period. Some also believe he was tall and muscular, which was around 6 feet tall, due to his perfect physique condition and unique position as the first human created by God. But the other believed he was a giant, uh, with some estimates ranging from 11 to 15 feet or even 90 feet tall, based
What would be
on
the
the
proof?
Islamic tradition.
Okay, so based on an Icelandic myth and tradition. Okay. I
Now, this
don't
is what it
know.
says for biblical description. The Bible describes Adam as a mighty man and a giant, but these terms are likely symbolic, representing his importance and strength rather than literal height. Historical context. In ancient cultures, taller individuals were often seen as stronger and more powerful. This might suggest Adam was taller than average, but there's no concrete evidence to support a specific height. So basically,
So
nobody knows his exact height, but a lot believe he was 11 to 15, including 90 feet tall.
so I've been listening to the Bible recently. Like
Hmm.
I just listened to the first 54 chapters of the King James Bible. So
Hmm.
basically almost the first entire like the first part of Genesis and like the Adam and Eve story, Cain and Abel, Noah's Ark, all of that. The Egyptian Israelites, Moses. I all this, and I will tell you that one thing that I didn't really understand until now is that when you read the Bible, when the Israelites went to Egypt at first, they were treated very well. Did you
Yeah,
know this?
yeah,
Pharaoh treated them very, very well. They weren't slaves. Like if
right.
and I'm correct, it was all because of Jacob, right? Like isn't it because Jacob was really good friends with Pharaoh because of how he got sold into Egypt when he was younger,
Hmm.
and his entire clan, like his brothers, or not his brothers, one brother sent him away and like buried him in, or didn't bury him, but they like put him into a hole. And then when these Egyptian guys showed up, they sold him off to the Egyptians for 50 silver shillings. And Jacob's Technicolor coat or whatever, he soaked it in ram's blood and gave it to the father, and the father thought that he was mauled and killed by some crazy animal. And later on down in life, the brothers end up going to Egypt because Pharaoh and the Egypt have corn or whatever. And the brothers didn't, Jacob didn't know these brothers, yes, but they were from the tribe. He accused them of being spies. They promised they weren't spies, paid him for the corn. He told them to bring back their brother, their youngest, the youngest firstborn or whatever, out out of them. And when the brother shows back up, they bring the Jacob realizes, yep, this is my family, and then tells them to bring his dad back, and Pharaoh moves them to Egypt
Hmm.
and gives them a really good life. So it's very weird. Like why was one pharaoh so nice to the Israelites, and then you have two other pharaohs that treated the Israelites like trash?
I can't answer that.
And we were obviously to about the Israelites building the pyramids. I'm sorry, they didn't build the pyramids. The Israelites did not build the pyramid. The pyramid built with slave labor. And Egypt
Yeah.
wasn't built with slave labor. With slave labor, Egypt was built by people who were actually treated very, very well.
Hmm. Yep.
And Egypt whole thing with itself. We want to talk about alien races. I believe that King Tut was not from here. I think I think he was an extraterrestrial.
He was
I know, like,
so King Tut. He had African American skin.
yes, and his head
So
was elongated.
yeah. So he fit in pretty well. So he was Anunnaki.
Supposedly, we don't
Or
know what he
no,
was.
not Anunnaki. He was Nephilim.
Right. I'm gonna say once again, supposedly, we don't really know what he was.
Right. So allegedly, they're speculating that he was a Nephilim because he was a hybrid.
Yeah, he appears to be a hybrid for sure. And I know at one point they said that it did not appear that his skull was bounded. It appeared that his skull was naturally elongated. Which there's a lot of people that don't agree with that claim. There's a lot of scientists that say the exact opposite. They say his head was bound and it was purposeful, and then there's other scientists that say the head shows no stress, which would stress would be caused if you bounded the head to elongate it.
Right.
So it's really weird. Like King Tut doesn't seem to be from here, and then like hieroglyphs, man. Like there's some hieroglyphs that look like alien spaceships and cars and all kinds of weird things.
Right.
Like one hieroglyph of a helicopter. And why did they have a hieroglyph of a space person?
I don't know. Why did they have a Sphinx with Homer Simpson's head on it?
Yeah, true that. It was a toy. It was a toy that was carved. JD says that she agrees that there's something different about the Egyptians. Some of them very probably fallen angels mixed with or fallen angel or mixed with angels.
Yep.
I do agree with that statement.
I definitely agree with that too.
I think the Anunnaki and the Nephilim interbred with certain races and certain religions around the globe at that time and created human hybrids, and King Tut could definitely be one of those. Or as Chris, King Tut could have been Nephilim. So getting down more into like the alien topic, what do you know about Project Bluebeam?
Oh man, we talked about this around season 1. It's been so long, man. You're gonna have to remind me.
Project Bluebeam. Here, I'll pull it up for you. But Project Bluebeam, to my knowledge, is a program where they would fake an alien invasion using holographic technology.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Here you go. Okay. According to the Project Beam theory hosted by Serge Montast, NASA and the United Nations are trying to establish a totalitarian one world government. But but is there any but is there any proof? Conspiracy theories today are a dime a dozen, ranging from speculation about assassination of John F. Kennedy to beliefs that the flat Earth. But among more bizarre conspiracies, there's just one that might be the wildest of all. Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam was first proposed in the early 1990s by journalist turned conspiracy theorist named Serge Monas. After taking an interest in the work of other conspiracy theorists, Monas began reading about secret societies and became particularly interested in theories about potential New World Order, which served as a foundation for Project Bluebeam. In short, Project Bluebeam is a conspiracy theory that suggests that NASA and the UN are trying to create a new world order by implementing a new age religion headed by the Antichrist, using advanced technology such as holographic technology to trick people into believing in this religion. If they succeed in their supposed mission, all traditional religions will be abolished. The national identities will be removed in favor of a one world religion and one world government. Here's everything to know about Project Bluebeam. Or he was known for Project Bluebeam, Serge Monast, Canadian writer working as a journalist during the 1970s and the 1980s. Few details are known about his early life, but it's clear that by the early 1990s, Monast became deeply interested in conspiracy theories. He began writing about the New World Order, a term used by several conspiracy theories that claim an organization such as the UN or the Illuminati is working to create a single world government and dominate people so that they'd accept such totalitarian dictatorship. Often these theories overlap with anti-Semitism, playing into false narratives that Jews are in the complete control of the world's finances and media organizations and hope to take over the earth. These theories also often steeped in fear mongering and reliant on concerns about the Antichrist and his arrival. Notably, New World Order theories have been pushed by one of America's most infamous conspiracy theorists, AJ, who claimed that horrific Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting false flag hoax perpetrated by crisis actors in an attempt to take away American gun rights. Jay was later ordered to pay about $1.5 billion to the families of Sandy Hook victims after Jay's false claims about the massacre. Monas wrote about Project Bluebeam in 1994, publishing NASA Project Bluebeam and expanding on the theory a year later in Les Protocoles de Toronto, which was largely modeled on the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, a fabricated text detailing a Jewish conspiracy to dominate Jewish world control the world in a strange twist. Some have speculated that Monast have also been inspired by Star Trek, specifically the premise of a never produced movie, Star Trek: The God Thing, that would have been introduced a mysterious force that claimed to be God, but was actually a sentient computer. But Monast's theory focused heavily on NASA and the UN and their supposed four-step plan to achieve world domination. The first step of Project Bluebeam, according to Serge Monast, involves effectively rewriting history by faking earthquakes around the world. These man-made quakes are meant to lead to discoveries of fake artifacts that will discredit traditional religions, especially Christianity and Islam. In essence, Monast believed that NASA and the UN would dismantle these religions around the world by sowing historical doubt about them in order to propagate their New Age religion. Step 2 is 3 graphic laser projections that would be beamed across the planet to create massive space show. A variety of religious figures in the sky, including Jesus, Muhammad, and the Buddha. Final show would involve all various holograms merging into a singular entity, the Antichrist. But how would this space show convince every single person to go along with NASA and the UN's supposed plans? This was Mona's explanation Such rays from satellites are fed from the memories of computers that have stored massive data about every human on Earth and their languages. The rays will then interlace their natural thinking into a form we call diffuse artificial thought. The third stage is what scientists called telepathic electronic two-way communication. He claimed that NASA would use low-frequency radio waves and satellite rays to communicate with individuals telepathically, assuming that these people would believe that their God is speaking to them through this communication. Monash claimed that NASA would be able to influence how people thought and prepare them for step 4. The final step of Project Bluebeam has multiple stages of its own. The first stage is to convince humanity that an alien invasion is imminent. The second stage is to convince Christians that the rapture is about to begin. The third stage involves NASA using advanced technology to allow supernatural forces to travel through TV cables, phone lines, and optical fibers to activate microchips in all consumer electronics and appliances. In the ensuing chaos that unfolded, Monash believed that NASA and the UN would slowly unveil their proposed New World Order, while phasing out cash with a version of cryptocurrency and eliminating the concept of independence. With the humanity ready to accept it to ensure survival, everyone who agreed would be forced to accept the new totalitarian one world government and a new age religion that embraced the cult of man. Who resisted would face a number of inhumane punishments, ranging from forced labor to brutal execution. The NASA Blue Project is the prime directive for the New World Order's absolute control over the populations of an entire Earth. Monast insisted to his readers, I would suggest you investigate this thoroughly, this information carefully before dismissing it as a fanatic lunacy. And that is what Project Bluebeam is. If you want to read this article for yourself, and all that's interesting.com/Project Bluebeam. Super interesting. So
Yeah, it is.
so the whole goal behind Project Bluebeam is to make Christians believe that the rapture is coming, while faking all of these religious figures in the sky and showing them all come into one, forming a supposed antichrist and making everybody become one with the one world religion that they want to implement, thus being controlled by a government known as the New World Order. But that's a harmful conspiracy theory that hurts people. Remember that.
That is a harmful conspiracy, but at the same time, that has been mentioned in the Bible. So, therefore, at the same time, it's a biblical one.
You want to hear a crazy dream I had when I was like 14?
Sure.
And I've had this dream more than once, and it kind of weirds me out when I think about Project Bluebeam. I have this dream sometimes, it's reoccurring, and the dream is that I'm like in my teen years and going outside with my family, and all of a sudden there's like a solar eclipse, or the one where the moon covers the sun and it goes dark. That's a solar eclipse, right?
I believe so.
Okay, yeah. But it's like a solar eclipse. It's a total solar eclipse that's happening. And during this total solar eclipse, Mother Mary appears in the sky. Like a full Mother Mary and everything. And she's staring down at everybody. And she looks like a hologram. Like that's the first thing I think is I'm like, this isn't real. But everybody around me drops to their knees and me starts praying. Even atheists drop to their knees and start praying. And then Jesus appears next to her, and then next to her appears Buddha, and then next to him appears some weird looking guy with a gray beard. And I've had this dream way more than once. Probably going on like 6 or 7 times now, and I've always wondered, oh my god, is this a part of Project Being? Is this me like getting a sign that this could happen in the future? Like that has always like kind of screwed me up in the head, to be honest. JD says, "Do not take the chip. It's better to die and go to heaven and take the mark, and absolutely not to heaven." She also says the Bible says in end times people will dream dreams. Some dreams will be visions of the future. It truly feels that way. And it's been ever since I was little. Like I would have this dream. It's always the same dream. It's Mother Mary during a total solar eclipse. And she
Jacob was
in the
one of them.
middle of, is that who it was? It
Jacobs
was an
was one
old
of them who,
guy.
I don't know, but Jacob was one of them who would have dreams as visions,
Yeah.
and that's how he became really close to the Pharaoh.
Yeah, exactly. Because he would tell Pharaoh what would happen, would have visions, and he would tell Pharaoh what was going to happen, and Pharaoh would listen. But dreams, man, weird, weird. I have a couple different reoccurring dreams, but that's the one that just eats at me, and I don't know what it means. Another reoccurring dream that I have that doesn't really deal with aliens or Project Bluebeam, but it's just a weird reoccurring dream is, have you ever heard the the myths about the centaur in the maze?
Yeah,
It's like called, yeah, I don't remember what it's called. What is? Oh my
I
god!
don't
But
think it's
it's
a centaur.
basically
It's not a centaur. It's
it's the bowl.
it's
It's
half
the
man,
thing with a
half bull.
bowl.
It's a minotaur.
The Minotaur, yeah, the Minotaur and the whatever. But okay, when I was in anyways, when I was younger, probably like in grade school, I kept having this reoccurring dream that I still get occasionally. Like it's very rare. It probably only happens maybe like once every 3 years, once every 4 years, something like that. But I'm a kid again, and I'm stuck in the maze, and I'm running around in this Roman looking maze. There's giant bull, half human, half bull, chasing me, trying to kill me. And over and over, it's just saying, I am the Minotaur. Like that's all it keeps saying. And I looked up like the symptom of that, and then I figured out later on in life that story of the Minotaur in the maze or whatever it is, that's the dream I had, and I had that dream before I ever heard that story.
Sounds like God was trying to get you to look up something.
I mean, I looked up this when I was a lot younger, but I struggled with a lot of trauma, so I feel like some of my dreams were trauma related. Like I know that one of my reoccurring dreams, which is kind of, I mean, it's a little disturbing, guys, so trigger warning, but I mean, it's not like crazy, but it's kind of crazy because I don't think it's a dream. I think it's me actually reliving something that I went through. But it's being put into a closet as a little kid and being put onto a hanger and literally being like in the closet and not being able to open the door, not being able to do anything, and screaming and crying and screaming and crying and not being able to open up the door. Like you can't. You're too small. You're too little. You can't reach anything. And I've had that reoccurring dream too. And like I don't know what it means. I think it's real. I think it's trauma memory. Because I went through a lot of foster homes and a lot of a lot of crap, dude. Like, I went through a
Right.
lot of trauma in my childhood. A lot of trauma in my childhood. I mean, like, I still have night terrors sometimes, and those night terrors manifest themselves in different ways all the time. It's usually screaming. It's just auditory. Like, the dream will just be voices. It won't even be like I won't see colors. I won't. It'll be a black room, and you just hear auditory sounds in the room, and it's usually like a woman screaming and a man getting really loud. And I think it's real. I think they're actual trauma dreams of actual situations that I witnessed when I was young. So traumatizing being a child that they were like burned into my brain, which, kind of brings that back to extraterrestrials, honestly. Is I have some very weird dreams and some very weird things happen to me as a child, as you know, with extraterrestrials. So, with me, like, I'm not gonna say I got abducted or anything, but I had crazy amounts of what I believe to be extraterrestrial contact. And I literally got onto the news for UFOs in Blue Springs in 2012, I believe. It was 2012. But I saw these crazy flashing lights in the sky that wouldn't go away, and I kept seeing them, and they were following me. Like, literally, I could say something, and I could point somewhere, and the light would go to where I was pointing, and it made no sense. And I actually ended up calling a news crew about it, and me and a buddy got on the news for it. We reported all of this, and you know, down. The government didn't want to hear about it. After the first like two news clippets about it, they were going to research more into it, and then of course, like every other news station, oh, sorry, they told us we can't do anything. Like the news came out and said they told us we're not allowed to pursue the story anymore. So who's they, and why do they have any hold over you? You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, who can tell the news crew that they can't document something? Like, I thought this was the free world. Thank you, JD, for saying that you're sorry that for all I went through. I'm not looking for pity of any kind. Um, and I know that you're just being sincere and you feel bad that I had to go through that stuff. But I'm telling you that you don't have to, because I've made peace with it. And some horrible, horrible, horrible things when um I'm gonna probably go into it a little bit more this season. At the end of the season, we're actually gonna go through my early childhood and life story, because I just think that everybody should hear about it one time, and then I just don't have to talk about it anymore. I'm actually gonna write a book too, I think. Um, but I've had really weird experiences when it comes to the paranormal and extraterrestrial, in my opinion. I've
I'll
seen
tell you who
flying
told the
saucers.
news. I'll tell you who told the news
Who
that
told
they can't. I did. No, I'm just kidding.
you? Did
No.
you told them to do it?
Yeah, I did, but no, not really. Um, no, it could have been the Men in Black, or it could have been the Missouri government.
See, we thought it was the Men in Black because during the entire UFO incident, we had a very weird incident happen where a white van showed up with two guys like weird looking outfits, like traditional suits almost. One was a gray suit, and then the other guy had on a black traditional suit. and they just sat in the and they watched us. Me, who's and my buddy that was there. But they never did anything except when they left. We were told that the news crew got told that they could no longer do episodes and that they needed to delete the footage and basically not talk about it anymore. And then there was one more news story that happened after that. And I never saw the white van again, but the white van was weird. It showed up out of the fucking blue one day. The second time that they went there to look at these things with me. The third time we actually had a UFO investigator come out, and the news crew, all of the news crew saw the UFO. Sorry, not the third time, the second time. The news crew did not come out. They only came out twice. The second time they came, they all saw the UFO. All of the news crew saw it. The lady that was filming it couldn't freaking believe it. She thought I was full of shit. Couldn't believe it. And the MUFON didn't believe it. She did a look.
You want to know something
crazy.
funny? When I was in that program,
Well, thank you, JD. I dabble in religion, but I don't pray to what most pray to. And quite honestly, like I know that in the Christian mindset I'm going to hell, and that's fine with me because I believe that as long as I'm positive and as long as I want to follow the thing that I want to follow, that I'm going to end up where I need to be. I don't believe in hell. I believe that there are bad places and good places. And I believe the soul is going to be reborn into one of those places. If you're a bad person, your soul is going to be reborn into one of the bad places. If you're a good person, your soul's going to get reborn into a really awesome freaking place. You might go to heaven, you might have an afterlife, or your conscience might go back to their conscience. And the mother conscience might decide, hey, you had an amazing life. You're ready to go on to the next level. And you get sent to a different universe as a different energy, and you get to be something completely new. I don't know. It blows me away. It could be anything. Or we could just die, fall to the earth, and the worms eat us, and that's that. And God. Or there is a God, and he's the only God, and the Bible is completely 100% true, and I'm making a mistake, and so is everybody else who Christian God, and it will be absolutely insane come the rapture. So all I can say is if this happens during our lifetime crew, it is going to be very intense and very insane, and I don't think the world has anything like this.
well, I'm going to say this. I got two things on my mind now, but first thing I'm gonna finish what I was saying. Which I do agree with you, JD. When I was in that program, right, I saw that news clip of you
All right, thank you, JD. I respect you and your religion, and I respect everybody in the religion, and I respect these views and understand that certain religions believe that their God is the only God and one God, and if you don't believe in that God, then you're damned. And I understand that, and I'm okay with it. So I've already come to terms with it. Anubis is my God. I am pagan. I devoted my life to Anubis a while back. So I'm perfectly okay with that. And I know it scares people. And people try to convert it all the time. Grew up Jewish. So it's quite funny to see Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses freak out when I tell them I'm a pagan that believes Anubis is going to take me in the afterlife and I'm going to help him travel people to the afterlife because that's my goal.
But anyways, like I was saying,
Sorry, Crew.
it's
I didn't
okay.
mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Because I have two things on my mind, which I'm gonna finish the first one. So when I was in that program, right, and the news, we were watching the news. This was before dinner, and your story popped on the news, and I said, "Hey,
Right.
I know that guy. He's my brother." And all the guys in there like, "We don't believe you. That's not your brother." I was like, "Bet I'll go call him and show y'all I have his fucking number." Because it showed your name, right? It showed your name on the screen, right? So I asked the one of the house leads. I was like, "Hey, can I show them that I actually have that dude's number?" They're like, "Yeah." So uh they literally had me take the piece of paper with all the phone numbers I had on it, showed everyone your name there. They're like, "Oh, you weren't lying." I was like, "Yeah, that's my brother." And they were just stunned. But no, anyways, uh the other thing that, since we're talking about all that um religion stuff real quick and higher power and all that. So I was in Burr Oak Woods one day, right? I was by myself. This was around, I'd say, 2014.
Right.
I was having a really stressful day, and I was just walking, and I went to that one old hangout spot that we all used to go to with our group. You know,
Yeah.
that cuts off the path, that has the broken
Yes.
bridge, that has that destroyed that one spot that used to be a bridge but got completely taken down. Well,
Yeah.
I got in the middle of that little platform, and I literally prayed, asking God to send me a sign or something to make my day better, make me feel, at ease, something. Send an angel, send somebody from heaven that's from my family down here, Literally,
Right.
asked, when I asked God to send me a sign or something, I felt a, not his presence, but like a angelic presence.
Right.
So when it's kind of hard to explain. Like it's more lines of, it was overwhelming but peaceful.
No, I totally get. I love being in nature, praying in nature, like because I feel closer to God. I feel closer to God. I feel closer and more spiritually in tune. I'm outside doing it. And I feel like everybody does. I feel like that's the way to pray is to go outside because nature is your synagogue. It is a synagogue. It is God's creation. No matter what God you pray to, God created everything, correct?
Yeah,
So if you create everything, then everywhere is your temple, which would make outside super divine, especially if you found some extremely beautiful.
right. Right. And I'm telling you, when I felt that like presence, not only was it overwhelming and it was peaceful, my whole body had goosebumps, like a shiver
When that
and
happens,
shivering at the same time.
I love when that happens because then you feel like like God really is there with you, or like a higher being, your spirit is really there with you. Like Native American, you grew up Native American too, and I know
Yeah,
you probably felt sometimes like nature was speaking to you, like talking to you, the way your
right,
grandfather and people
right.
talk to you about nature.
So I'm gonna give another example. So remember when I was in at my really lowest, right, around like 2021, and I was in that apartment complex all by myself.
Right.
Awesome. But yeah, so I was at my lowest, right? And you saw it. You you saw me go through it. My mind was not clear. I was at my lowest where I was so down. I would not move, would not budge. I was so depressed, and nobody could get me out of my slump. Not even you, and you hated it. I
And it
was
wasn't fun.
yeah, it wasn't fun. So I'm literally, and it takes a lot for me to literally start crying. I'm
Right.
just laying there on the um like couch bed like thing I had, or futon. I had a futon, right? So I put the futon in like a bed form, and I called out of work because I was not feeling it. They could tell because they knew my situation. They allowed me, take personal days. So I took a personal day and I just laid there in the middle of the futon, and I was I just was speaking to my cats, and I said, "Y'all need to cut it out. You're being so annoying and so loud." And I'm trying to literally just being quiet. So I literally is like, okay, I gotta get me out of this slump. I need to function. So I was like, God, send me a fucking sign. I am done. I literally felt so overwhelmed. I started crying.
Well, it's because you had energy and you were projecting energy towards God and trying to connect, and you felt
Right,
something and it
right.
through your body.
Well, here's the thing. The reason why I felt overwhelmed and started crying because it felt like I got the wind knocked out of me.
Right.
Kind of like when a cat jumps onto you on your stomach
Yeah.
so hard, kind of like that. Yep,
Very
that is
true.
true. That is true. I pray everywhere. But yeah,
I
it
like said.
my whole chest and my whole stomach was like hurting. Like literally, I literally was like, and then I literally started bawling my eyes out, and it felt so overwhelming. Like that's how bad it was.
I get you. That's not no getting like get the wind knocked out in ways not. But it's also probably an experience to feel like you just got touched by God too, though.
Yeah.
Because like I've had all kinds of experiences, but like to bring it back to like the extraterrestrial stuff, when you have dreams, I've had have you had dreams where you woke up, you couldn't move and you couldn't talk? Have you ever entered a
Um,
state of sleep paralysis?
once, and I'll tell you why.
When you entered when you entered that state of sleep paralysis, did you see deities? Did you see
Mm,
things walk
I'll put it like
or
this.
like
Okay, I'll put it like this. So I had a really bad dream, right? It, like, kind of like those kind of bad dreams where you can't use your voice in your dream, and you try to scream, and you can't get that high pitch. It's so low, and you're trying to scream and speak, but you can't.
yeah,
So literally,
that's the
it
one.
was like I had that kind of dream, and then I woke, and I go from that to falling, right?
I hate
And
that. I hate falling in a dream.
and when I hit what this uh really hard ground, right, in my dream,
Yeah,
I woke up and I could not move.
right.
Like, it was like I knocked the wind out of me. And literally, when I and one of the things that really sucked was my left arm was right under me,
Right.
and my left arm was completely lifeless.
So it's like numb because you're laying on it and you can't move.
Yeah, yeah. So when I
Oh,
finally was
geez.
able to get up, my arm was like would fall, would not move. So I'm literally just like, all right, I
Just
need to get something cold.
with, I'm just imagining getting up with one limp arm.
Oh, dude, it's happened to me multiple times. It sucks. So I had
Oh,
literally had to
I'll
go in
tell
my
you.
mini fridge and get me a freaking Diet Coke and make my hand wake the fuck up.
Bro, I so what I mean by sleep paralysis though, okay? Like I've had dreams where I wake up in the middle of a dream because I hear somebody like saying my name or I hear a baby crying. Like a baby
Oh
crying for
yeah,
some reason is always the number one thing I think, oh my God, it's happening because it's the one thing that triggers my sleep paralysis. I think it's also like a trigger, like because of my childhood. But I've had dreams where I try to scream and I can't, and then I open my eyes and I'm still like, as the doctors would probably say, dude, you're still sleeping when this happens. But I don't think so. I think I'm wide awake and I can look forward and I can see things walking around me. A couple of times, like one time with sleep paralysis, the craziest time that ever happened was I woke up in the middle of the night and I couldn't move. I couldn't move my arms. I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't talk. I couldn't speak. I couldn't scream. I opened up my mouth, but nothing would come out. Literally out of my closet door in my room. And this is at my parents' house and at their old place in where I used to live when I went to high school. Um in my closet door, that walk-in closet, okay? It was a big closet, like, so something could really walk out of it, so it was a scary thought. I'm, like, stuck in sleep paralysis and freaking out, I can't scream, I can't move, I can't talk, I can't do anything, and out from the closet comes this, like, old lady. I mean, old lady, like, in a cloak with a hood. She looked like the Snow White witch. You know Snow White witch that gave Snow White the apple
yeah.
in the cartoon? She looks like that, and she sits on top of my chest, and at this point, I can't breathe. Like, it's hard for me to breathe. I'm struggling to breathe, and I'm like tears are streaming down my face, and the old lady is laughing, and she's just staring at thing and staring at me in my eyes. And I opened them up, and what felt like 20 minutes was like probably 2.5. Felt like 20. And when I opened my eyes, I could move again. And I remember I rolled over to started sobbing and cleaned myself up and tried to get back to sleep. I couldn't sleep for the next 2 nights because the experience was so horrifying. And I don't know if it was paranormal, extraterrestrial, extra dimensional. I don't know what that experience was, but it didn't feel fake. It felt like no business.
Sounds like you're gonna have to do your research on that and figure out what it exactly relates to. Because to me, it does sound paranormal more. Because uh, there has been cases where people would have sleep paralysis demons.
Yeah, no, like so yes. So sleep paralysis. So I've looked into it myself already, honestly. And sleep paralysis demon is the only thing I can think it was because he knew it was ready for me. I was in high school, I was going through shit.
Right.
I was going through stuff. So I had my own stuff going on. Like I had demons and they attached to me. Until I
The
get rid of
one
them.
the one thing that sucks about that though, bro, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you about that. When we're at our most low, we are easily targeted.
Oh yeah, for
Like
sure.
like there's been times when I was at my most low around 2021 where I was so easily targeted,
Low
easily
vibrational
triggered.
energy.
Yeah.
When you
And
have low vibrational, you direct low vibrational energy back. So if you're projecting low vibrational energy, then low vibrational energy comes back, and that'll come back in the form of parasites, demons, or bad luck, or anything that you manifest. And demons are very real. I mean, we have literal tapes from the police exorcism, the original Annalisa exorcism. If you haven't seen that, look up the exorcism of Annalisa on YouTube. It's a real case, and the recordings are absolutely insane. These are
right.
real. End of case.
Yeah, like I literally had to have had to have my sister-in-law and even your wife saved my house, my apartment because how negative it was
Oh yeah,
multiple
dude,
times.
that place was disgusting. Like not
It,
not disgusting and gross, but like disgusting with the energy. It just didn't feel right.
and it wasn't me that was shooting out that energy. It was everybody who's been in that apartment, and it was draining me like bad. But
Right.
anyways, we're getting a little off track here a little bit. Let's get back to extraterrestrials.
Yeah, extraterrestrials, but sleep paralysis demons is what we went into.
Yeah.
No, but sleep paralysis. The other weird thing about sleep paralysis is that people see a really big thing that they explain that they see when paralysis sometimes is gray aliens.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that too.
Stuck and they can't move. Gray aliens walking around their room.
Yep.
But anyways, guys, let's get into some of these videos real quick before the game.
A CIA declassified document on beings and crafts that are not perceptible to us and aren't from this astral plane.
My guess is go to CIA.gov and look up extraterrestrial and entities, and that document should pop up. You see, quite a bit of it's redacted, So even though it's declassified, it probably just states there's a different kind of alien or something, and that's all it states. It doesn't state in anything that would be incriminating or actually like talk about alien type.
Right.
First of all information dealing with alien or alien reproduced technology or alien reproduced vehicles or any other kinds of things well hidden from the American public. Our black budget, for instance, garners $1.023 trillion every 2 years. Right now, there are 131 active deep underground military bases in the United States. There's 1,477 of them worldwide. My colleague Al Bielek has actually been on some of the high-speed railways, the magneto-leviton trains that connect all the deep underground military bases within the United States. He's been on a Mach 2 train and floats off of a single rail at 3/4 of an inch off the rail, and the public basically has been totally lied to. We're considered stupid.
How do you feel about that?
Apparently, we've been totally
Do you
lied
think
to.
And do you think they consider
Yeah, apparently they consider us stupid, and we've apparently been lied to. So, I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like that man was kind of lecturing me.
Right?
At the same time, he's speaking facts.
Snapshot of the film that was smuggled in 1991 out of a facility just south of Area 51. If I am truly in danger, that means that this film and this being is real, and God help me. But if I'm truly in danger and this being is real, that means the extraterrestrial program is also real. And I say, God help us all.
That guy had a declassified photo of an alien from a video that I actually have.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real. They don't call them UFOs, they call them unidentified aerial phenomena. The several videos they're talking about were recorded years ago by fighter pilots. Then in 2017, they were made public by the New York Times. More now from our Randy Kay.
Look at that thing. It's rotating.
Images of that rotating thing captured by U.S. Navy aircraft, sensors locking in on the target. Commander David Fravor saw it firsthand during a training mission, describing it like a 40-foot-long tic-tac, maneuvering rapidly and changing direction.
And as we both looked out the right side of our airplane, we saw a disturbance in the water and a white object, oblong, pointing north.
The object was first sighted in 2004, then similar objects again in 2015. Footage of the sightings, declassified by the military, weren't made public until December 2017 by the New York Times and a group that researches UFOs.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. The whole thing, dude.
This was extremely abrupt, like a ping pong ball bouncing off a wall. The ability to hover over the water and then start a vertical climb from basically zero up towards about 12,000 feet and then accelerate in less than 2 seconds and disappear is something I had never seen in my life.
The Navy says it still doesn't know what the objects are, and officials aren't speculating. A Navy spokesman simply confirming to CNN the objects seen in the various clips are unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. The UFO reports were first investigated by a secret $22 million program, part of the Defense Department budget, that investigated reports of UFOs. The program has since been shut down, but it was run by a military intelligence official who told CNN they found compelling evidence that we, quote, may not be alone. Randy Kay, CNN, New York.
We're not alone. We may not be alone. We're not alone. I don't think we are.
You've got literally just the group, and maybe a director knows about it. Nobody else. It's completely classified. It's top secret. It's under lock and key. But I want to mention something. One of the bombshells that we dropped was that there's a declassified federal document. Anyone watching this interview can go find this document. It's on the FBI vault. Document 6751. It's a document from the 40s. It was written by a prominent member of academia, and it was submitted to the FBI. In this document, they make a case that entities are not space aliens, but that they're interdimensional or extra-dimensional entities that are crossing over from a plane known as the ethereal plane. Now, we know, as researchers of the New Age movement, we know that that is where the ascended masters are supposedly said to be on a high level. This ethereal plane is very popular. When you talk to people who astral project, people who channel, people who remote view, people who want to tap in or go on a trip, an ayahuasca trip, a DMT trip.
So apparently, ayahuasca, taking DMT, you're going to the astral plane. I believe that. That makes sense.
I believe it too. Yeah.
That's what the government wants to keep those drugs as cool drugs and off the marketplace for any psychotherapy or anything like that with them.
You've got literally just
That's cool, but I can't tell if it's CGI or AI.
That's AI.
It's still cool though.
Yeah, it's fake as fuck. He said that to me.
I wanted to see if he'd catch on.
Hey guys, check this video out. So yeah guys, we got video footage. Believe it or not guys, and it looks kind of real to me. You know, there's a lot of fake stuff all over the internet with CGI and AI. But this here, guys, this looks absolutely real. What we see here is a tall, gray extraterrestrial trying to put his hands through the bars at the door which protect people from coming in. And basically the gentleman is there with a friend or either a relative, and he becomes feared of this thing. Whatever this thing is creepy. The video has since went viral all over social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. What do you guys think this is?
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is either, but it was tall and gray. So
That's one.
I was watching this documentary today. It's a new James Fox documentary about a UFO landing in Brazil in 1996. Holy shit, it's incredible. I had no idea that there's a city called Varginha in Brazil, and in 1996, according to everyone who was there, according to medical records of people who were there, they blocked off, the military came in, cordoned off the area, they recovered a crashed UFO. And there was living creatures that people came in contact with, and one of them was this tiny little thing that this guy carried, and he carried it to wherever they were going to examine it. And when he carried it, he got whatever was on its skin. It had like a slippery kind of skin. It got into his body and infected him, and he wound up with this horrible general infection, and he wound up dying. His body shut down, his immune system shut down. His body didn't know what the fuck to do with this alien thing that he was interacting with. There's real records of this guy contacting this thing, grabbing it, carrying it in. All these people witnessed it, and then this guy winds up with this insane infection shortly there afterwards. That's all.
Alleged.
Right.
We're talking about some crazy dude getting over.
Right.
Aliens are done hiding. I caught one on camera last night. Wait, why is this alien at the car wash? This alien is real. Screenshot and zoom in. This is not a mask.
Alien at the car wash.
What's that shit? He's sending me shit over here.
That's funny.
Dude, why'd you video like 3 times?
The one before that is a different one.
Okay, but that's the same boat and the same people. That's CGI as shit.
I typed in UFOs. That's what it was giving me. So
No, I got it. It was just that was using that to their advantage.
I think these people got an interdimensional being on their camera.
Check this out.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
That doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before on Earth. So like a little light followed by a bunch of little lights. I mean, what could this be? That's definitely strange. If you have any idea what this bunch of little lights could be, let me know in the comments below. There's a bunch of videos like this where people...
What do you think those are?
interdimensional orbs.
Orbs. Well, not the Orbeez.
Right.
What did you see?
Well, I saw something at a window.
Hey, stop. Here?
Yes.
Oh, please. Fuck. What is that?
I don't know.
Stop. What is that? Oh my God, go to the room now. Go. Oh my God! Oh, shit. Are you in your room? Where are you? Stop!
That looks like a movie.
Right.
Like, I don't know if that doesn't it doesn't look genuine to me. It looks somebody built a movie and it looks really good. Like somebody like made a short film for like, a film festival or something.
Right.
But I could be wrong. It kind of freaked me out, to be honest.
Me too. Me too. That last
about
one.
to show you the
That last one really did.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Kind of freaked me
I'm
out.
about to show you the Las Vegas alien on new footage that just got released, and it's gonna blow your mind. Now, this footage was actually uploaded by the cousin of Angel, the guy who made the video, late last night, and they only had it up for like 5 minutes and took it right down, but I downloaded it. Check this out. They're arguing about something in the back. As you can see, everybody has guns. They're in there ready for whatever might come. Now, they're gonna get startled right here, and you can't really tell why, but I'll brighten it up. After zooming in and slowing it down, they see something, they back up, right in between these two guys. Now, I'm going to zoom in, slow it down for you. As you can see, there's something there. But what if we brighten it up? There's definitely something there. All I did was brighten the footage. I don't know if it looks like something. It's up to you. Now that could look convincing. It's pretty good. But it's even crazier and more obvious that nobody pointed it out. And I'm about to show you why. Now the husband is telling the wife, come record it. It's right here. Get it on camera. A lot of people were saying, why couldn't you record it? Why can't I see anything? You got to understand, she didn't see it to begin with. She's coming in later. But the husband is convinced it's right there. How could you not see it? It's behind the second forklift. And he's telling her, it's right there. And so she's recording it. She doesn't see anything. She's trying to think, where? You can't tell. But usually some things are right in front of us that we can't see until someone points it out. Now let's slow it down. Now, as I slow down this footage that she's watching, remember the iPhones are really bad at night, especially when you zoom into like 15x digital zooms. It's trash, but it's actually right here and it's very clear and you can't see it because your brain couldn't process it. You're trying to find it hiding somewhere behind something, but it's really not. I think some of you are starting to get it and it's really clear as day. And now I will brighten it up for you so you can really see. When I messed with the brightness and I saw this, I literally freaked out. As you can clearly see, he's behind the tractor just like the guy said, just like Angel said in his video, and he's definitely 10 feet tall. That forklift is about 8. Look at the truck, is about 6. 6, 8, 10, it seems about right. And he's got a big head, black eyes. You can clearly see it. I don't know how we missed it before, but it was right there the whole time, just like the dad said. Now you might be like, there's no way, that's crazy. But the more you look at it, the more it makes sense. And it lines up with everything in the kid's story. They are 10 feet tall. He was behind the forklift and he was there the whole time. And they're recording this as if you can clearly see it. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm not. Maybe they're coming. Maybe you better be ready. Either way, like and comment for part 2.
That's crazy.
Right.
It's not even possible. Like, how did they know that Mars was the red planet, and why was it a worldwide fact? Saturn had rings.
Yeah.
Based upon what information? Because nobody worldwide is disagreeing. This is that thing that you see that all the Anunnaki guys that look like a wristwatch, and they always have it, and you're always trying to see what that is.
Yeah, what is that?
It is it's a compass. It's a timekeeping compass. And the emerald tablets of Thoth are literally mind-changing and mind-blowing. It's given in first person, and that's not possible. The things that are being said are impossible. Enough time has passed, though, that it's not like that. He literally says, hey, there's a spaceship on Earth, and this is where it is.
There's a spaceship on Earth and he's exactly where it is and go find it.
Right.
I love Cat Williams.
Me too.
Jules says, I've watched The Mystery at the Museum. They show a dress worn by a lady who was apparently abducted by a UFO. Julie then says they also have an old cop car where this cop saw a UFO and it met up with her. And then she says it looks familiar. Be dressed up. I think she's talking about the alien.
Got this footage late last night when I heard some noise. Just glad the neighbor's dogs seemed to scare it.
Somebody too. Stop sending me this crap.
That was funny. That was funny. Oh my gosh, that was cracking me up, bro.
You were telling people since 1989 that there was some sort of hand scanner. There was like a bone scanner, and you tried to describe it. You said you think it took measurements of the bone. There were these pegs. You put your hand on it.
It's a small plate with some pins on it that you could put between your fingers. There's a bright light above it.
The interesting thing is when you walk into the facility, or even to leave, they have a hand reader. I was told that it has to do something where it measures the bright light measures the bones in your finger. They're unique to each person. And it sounds like something out of a TV show, but it's exactly the way it is.
Man, I looked for that kind of thing all over the internet, never found anything. And then all of a sudden this article comes out and it says that at the Nellis Range they were talking about the stealth program. There was indeed this hand scanner that was used in these secret programs, and they just admitted or announced it publicly. And there were some photos, and I just was interested. And so
I never thought I'd see one of these again. But I tried to explain this to people so many times, and they either didn't believe me or say, yeah, I'm sure there is. And there it is. There it is.
It's like a biometric thing for the hands, yeah?
The beginnings of, I mean, it wasn't all that advanced back then, but yeah, that's it. I can't believe you found a picture of this. I really can't. This was the scanner used to get in to S4. And I tried to explain this to people so many times, that there was pins in, you stuck your hand, a light above, and it supposedly measured the length of the bones in your hand that, is unique in each individual. It's exactly how it was.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Right.
Phenomena. The biggest interest in classified intelligence projects has to do with the science of consciousness. Because even during the Cold War and before, in World War II, they realized that there were people on the other side of some of those conflicts that were very adept at what's now called remote viewing, the ability to use consciousness to spy on a remote place. These programs began to be studied scientifically and then routinized, made routine, in the intelligence community back in the 40s, 50s, 60s.
You could say my spiritual development was paid for by the CIA. It's a very unusual situation.
In 1972, Dr. Russell Targ, a laser physicist at the Lockheed Missile and Space Company, joined the Stanford Research Institute to begin a CIA-funded psychic espionage program using remote viewing to gather intelligence on distant targets.
So we had a 20-year program at Stanford in which we worked with the CIA to describe what the Russians, what the Chinese were doing. And we were forecasting on a Monday whether the market would go up or down the following Friday. And we made 9 forecasts like that, 9 weeks in a row, and they were all correct. We made $120,000 and we're on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. So back in 1982, when we were making money on Wall Street, ESP was real.
Everyone who is seriously interested in the pursuit of science becomes convinced that a spirit is manifest in the laws of the universe, a spirit vastly superior to man, and one in the face of which our modest powers must seem humble. Albert Einstein.
We didn't invent remote viewing. It was known since biblical times. The Buddhists spoke in very great detail about how to quiet your mind, look into the future, and if you're an accomplished meditator, you were expected to be able to see into the distance, see into the future, heal the sick, and diagnose illnesses. And various times during the next millennia, people would discover that yes, indeed, you can look into the future, you can look into the distance. And our operation from 1972 to 1995, 23 years, our venture into this was a rediscovery, a recapitulation of what people had known and forgotten during the previous millennia.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It was a lot to take in, and honestly, like the dude's voice is really kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot to take in, so like that video wasn't the greatest fit. But anyways, guys, tonight we talked about Project Blue Beam, we talked about sleep paralysis, we talked about religion and different aspects. We talked about reoccurring dreams. We had a lot of fun on the stream tonight. I'm about to hit our last episode. Not our last episode, our last video. So anyways, if you guys enjoyed the stream tonight and you enjoyed the content, do us a big favor, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Twitch, and on Facebook. Go to our Robert and Crew page and join the group. Wish to be on the podcast or want to do an interview with us, please contact me kover27@gmail.com. Put in the subject letter podcaster or podcast request, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I'm going to throw on the last video, and then we're going to call it a night.
Here in Huntsville, Alabama, we had some helicopters that we were testing, and test pilots all reported UAP coming around their helicopters while they were testing them. And one even reported that he believed his helicopter was disabled.
I was reading about this really interesting incident called the Polaris incident.
Polaris,
which was in 1977 to 1978. And it sounded like a UAP incident that was witnessed by thousands of people.
It was investigated officially by the Brazilian military under the command and control of a 4-star general named General Ochoa. He has explained before he passed away that even his own military personnel had been attacked by UAP.
What did they document?
A whole litany of things. A lot of the locals call being terrified by these things being pursued by them, almost being like a laser blast, if you can imagine that, or directed energy type
injury. Very provocative. Some of the military personnel were injured as well. A lot of medical doctors came in afterwards to look at the locals and the military personnel, validating the presumption that there was some sort of directed energy type damage, tissue damage to some of these people. And of course, then the fear kind of escalated into some of the other local lore of some other things, but it was very well established by the Brazilian military who also witnessed these encounters. So it's not like just some people in a remote village. And I've spoken to dozens and dozens of military officers all throughout Latin America and in Chile and Peru and Uruguay. And, they all reporting in some cases some very, very similar encounters, not necessarily with coladas, but innocent amongst themselves, people who don't even know each other, separated by different countries, are telling me their same encounter. And the same morphology of craft, and how they would in some cases even try to engage in a dogfight and use cannons, conventional guns, to no avail, of course. And there's reports of that in Tehran incident, I believe it's 1978, the Tehran incident with an F-14 Tomcat, where the pilot, his aircraft was disabled every time he tried to engage a target. And then, I superimposed that with, here in Huntsville, Alabama, we had some helicopters that we were testing, and test pilots all reported UAP coming around their helicopters while they were testing them. And one even reported that he believed his helicopter was disabled, and he went into an emergency situation. I think it was an emergency auto rotation situation. And as soon as the UAP left, he was able to regain control of his helicopter.
Dude, that stuff's crazy. I've heard about for years how aliens can take control of airplanes, helicopters, and cars if they feel the need to.
Right.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, guys, that was our last video tonight. Crew, you have anything to say before we jump off here?
Nope.
All right, guys. So we love you. Thanks for listening and hanging out with us. Come kick it again tomorrow. And a wonderful evening. We love you here at Robert and Crew. Much love. Good night, guys. Peace.
If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into The Robert and Crew Show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown, or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew Show, where the future meets the fantastic.